Brothers and sisters, open your hearts to the Lord. He is here among us, guiding our every step.
Outside, she looked holy, pure, and highly respected. But at night, she revealed her true nature like a snake in the dark. She swallowed people whole with her lies. Trapping them without a trace. And by morning, nothing remained but silence.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Bless you all. And you.
When Ego opened her mother's forbidden freezer, she found 7 human hands, 3 legs, and 2 heads, all neatly wrapped in black polythene bags.
Jesus Christ, God forbid, human head, blood of Jesus!
Here is your soup, fresh and hot.
Thank you.
Enjoy, everyone. There's plenty more. Here is your soup, fresh.
Mama Ego, this your food too sweet well. It dey shake my head. Now true talk be that. Correct, my brother.
Sisters,
Her
open your
mother,
hearts
the
to
churchwoman,
word.
the Bible carrier,
Faith is
the
our
most
foundation.
respected
It
woman in the
binds us.
market,
Together
was a
we are
shape-shifting
strong.
snake, a cannibal, a serial killer. And Ego had been living with her all her life. Stay with me, because what Ego discovered that day changed everything. Let me take you back to the beginning. The freezer had always hummed, day and night. That low, steady sound filled the back room of their small compound like a heartbeat that never stopped. Ego had grown up with that sound. She had learned to ignore it the same way she ignored the locked padlock that hung on the freezer door, heavy and permanent, like a warning she was never supposed to read. Mama Ego called it the business freezer. She said it held her pepper soup stock, cow meat, goat offal, things that spoiled quickly in the heat, things that needed to stay cold. Ego had believed her. Why wouldn't she? Mama Ego was the most
morning,
godly woman in
everyone.
their village. She carried her
Bless you
Bible
all.
everywhere, to the market, to the
Sisters,
well,
open your hearts
to the
word.
church where she sat in the front
Faith is
row
a
every
foundation
Sunday
that binds
with her
us.
white lace
Together we
wrapper
are
and her
strong.
loud
Brothers and
amen.
sisters, let us
People
rejoice
called her
in the
Mama
Lord.
Pastor.
His word is a
Pastor
lamp unto our
Emmanuel
feet.
himself
Walk
called
in
her
faith
a pillar
and
of
be
the
blessed.
church.
Brothers
But that
and
Wednesday
sisters, open
afternoon,
your hearts to the
Mama
Lord.
Ego
He
went
is
to the
here.
market and left the freezer key behind. It was sitting on the kitchen table, small and rusted, next to Mama Ego's half-finished cup of pap. Ego stared at it for a long time. Her heart beat faster than it should. She had never touched that key, never been allowed near it. She picked it up. Her legs carried her to the back room before her mind could stop them. The humming grew louder. The padlock clicked open on the first try. She lifted the lid. The smell hit her first, thick, sweet, and rotten, like meat that had gone bad and been covered with too much pepper. She gagged. Her hand flew to her nose, but she didn't close the lid. She looked inside. 7 hands, human hands, wrapped in black polythene, but not well enough fingers pressed against the thin plastic, pale and stiff. 3 legs, folded and packed like they were ashamed to be there. 2 heads, their eyes closed, their mouths slightly open, as if they had died mid-scream. Ego didn't scream. She couldn't. Her throat locked. Her legs stopped working. She stood there, gripping the freezer lid, while the cold air poured out around her and her brain simply refused to understand what her eyes were showing her. Then it connected. The pepper soup, the best pepper soup in the village. The pepper soup that men begged for, that market women gossiped about, that strangers came from 3 towns away to buy. The pepper soup Ego had never been allowed to eat, not once in 22 years. Neem, you are too young for the special pot, Mama Ego always said. It is not for children. Ego vomited on the floor. She was still shaking, still on her knees, when her mind finished counting. 15 years Mama Ego had run this business. The village had eaten this soup for 15 years. And somewhere in this freezer behind the hands and the legs and the heads was the truth about 11 people who had gone missing and never come back. Her mother had killed 11 people and fed them to the village. Nobody suspected Mama Ego. That was the genius of it. Every morning, she woke before sunrise. She would sweep the compound, boil water, and sit on her veranda reading her Bible with a cup of Zobo in her hand. Neighbors passing by would greet her. She would smile, raise her Bible and say, "God is good, my sister." And they would answer, all the time, and keep walking, feeling blessed just for seeing her. Nobody knew what she had done the night before. The transformation happened after midnight. Ego had heard strange sliding sounds, like something heavy, moving across the floor, but she always told herself it was a dream.
Hello, welcome to Folktales by Promzi. Please subscribe, like, and share. Let's continue the story.
She would pull her wrapper tighter and go back to sleep. She was good at not knowing things that frightened her, but the truth was simple and terrible. When the village went dark and quiet, Mama Ego shed her skin. It started at her feet. The skin would split, peel back, and fall away like an old wrapper dropping to the ground. What came out was not a woman. It was a snake, enormous, thick as a man's thigh, with scales the color of midnight and eyes that burned orange like hot coals. It moved in silence. It left no tracks, and it hunted with patience. The first man it killed that way was Ikenna, the school teacher who had come to ask for Ego's hand in marriage 3 years ago. He was a good man, quiet, educated. He had brought palm wine, cola nut, and a list of bride price items that showed he was serious. Mama Ego had smiled at him across the sitting room and said, "I will pray about it." That same night, Ikenna disappeared on his way home. They found nothing, not his shoes, not his bag, just his bicycle, parked neatly at the side of the road, as if he had simply chosen to stop existing. After Ikenna came Chukwuemeka, then Bello, then Osas, then 4 more, each one a man who had looked at Ego with love in his eyes. 8 suitors in 3 years, 8 men who vanished without explanation. And each time one disappeared, Mama Ego would sit beside Ego and hold her hand and say, "My daughter, you have spiritual husband blocking your destiny. We must pray harder." She would take Ego to Pastor Emmanuel for deliverance prayers. She would fast with her, cry with her, bind and cast demons with her. The snake was the spiritual husband. Mama Ego had built the prison and was handing Ego the prayer points to fight an enemy that wore her mother's face. Meanwhile, the pepper soup business boomed. Fresh stock appeared every few weeks. Customers noticed the meat was always tender, always rich, always different from anything they tasted elsewhere. A few market women whispered that the soup had something inside it, but they kept eating. One gossip, Adaise, said it too loudly one Tuesday afternoon. By Thursday, she was missing. Friday morning, Mama Ego opened the business pot with fresh meat. And Ego, who was not allowed to eat the soup, helped her mother wash the pot, because that was what good daughters did. Ego was still on her knees when she heard the gate. The metal creak was unmistakable. Mama Ego always pushed it the same way, hard on the left side, because the hinge was weak. Ego knew that sound like she knew her own heartbeat. And right now, that sound turned her blood to ice. She had maybe 40 seconds. Her mind was still trying to process what she had seen, the hands, the legs, the heads, all belonging to people she might have known, people who had eaten in this compound, people who had called her mother sister in church. And beneath all that horror was a thought sharper than everything else. Mama Ego could not find her here. Ego didn't think. Her body decided for her. She dropped the freezer lid. It closed with a dull thud, and she ran. Out of the back room, through the kitchen, past the table where the pap cup still sat, through the back door and into the narrow path behind their compound. She didn't take her phone. She didn't take her slippers. She ran barefoot on hot ground and she didn't feel it. Behind her, she heard the front door open, then silence. Then a sound that was not human, a low, vibrating hiss that seemed to come from the walls themselves, from the ground, from everywhere at once. It was the sound of something discovering its secret had been uncovered. It was the sound of fury with no shape yet. Ego ran faster. She burst into the main village path and screamed, "Help me! Somebody help me!" But the afternoon was quiet. Most people were inside, resting from the heat. The few who heard her poked heads out of windows and saw a young woman running and screaming, and they hesitated the way people always hesitate when trouble comes, unsure if they should step into someone else's story. Then they saw what was behind her. The snake moved like water, like darkness given a body. It was massive, longer than 3 men lying end to end, and it moved fast, impossibly fast, its orange eyes fixed on Ego with terrible focus. Women screamed from doorways. Men grabbed children and pulled them inside. Someone shouted, "China key, what is that thing?" Ego's lungs were burning. Her feet were bleeding. But one thought pushed through everything else, something her grandmother had told her when she was small, a piece of old knowledge she had never thought she would need. Evil cannot cross holy ground. The church, Pastor Emmanuel's church, was at the end of this road. White walls, red roof, a wooden cross above the door. She ran toward it. The snake gained on her. She could feel the air moving behind her, hear the dry scrape of scales against the earth. 20 feet, 10. Her hand hit the church door, and she shoved it open and threw herself inside, grabbing the altar cross with both hands, holding it to her chest like her life was inside it. The snake reached the doorway and stopped. The snake could not cross the threshold. It tried. Its massive head pushed forward, and then something invisible, absolute, stopped it. Like a wall made of air, the snake recoiled, hissing so loudly the church windows rattled. Its orange eyes blazed, its body coiled and uncoiled in fury outside the door, scraping the church steps, leaving deep marks in the concrete. Ego pressed herself against the altar and could not stop shaking. Who was there? Pastor Emmanuel came out from his back office, his reading glasses still on his nose, a Bible study notebook in his hand. He saw the girl first, barefoot, bleeding, clutching the altar cross with both hands, her face the color of someone who had seen the inside of a grave. Then he looked at the doorway. He saw the snake. Pastor Emmanuel was not a young man. He had buried people, counseled people, prayed through many dark nights. But what he saw outside that door made him step backward and whisper something under his breath that was not a full sentence, just the beginning of a prayer. "Just God's name," said quickly, like catching something before it fell. By now, village people had gathered. Word travels fast when a giant snake chases a girl through the main road. A crowd stood at a safe distance behind the snake, watching, some recording on phones, some holding each other. Children were crying. Old women were praying in loud whispers. The snake felt them watching. And then, slowly, horribly, it changed. The scales softened, the body compressed. The orange eyes faded, and standing outside the church door, in the same white lace wrapper she had worn to the market, was Mama Ego, breathing hard. Her wrapper slightly torn, her eyes still carrying something that was not fully human. "Ego." Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "Come out, my daughter. Come. We will talk at home." Ego pressed harder against the altar. "I will not come." Mama Ego's face cracked. "Don't tell these people our family business." "Ego, I am warning you. You killed them." Ego's voice broke. "Mama, you killed them. I saw them in the freezer. I saw their hands, their heads. Mama." She couldn't finish. The village heard everything. Pastor Emmanuel turned to Ego and told her to breathe. Then he turned to the crowd. His voice was clear and steady. "We go to her compound. Now. All of us. Together." They went. The freezer was exactly as Ego had left it, lid slightly off, cold air escaping, the smell reaching them before they even entered the back room. Pastor Emmanuel opened it fully. Market women saw the wrapped packages and understood before anyone explained. Elder men remembered names: Ikenna, the school teacher; Chukwemeka, the trader; Bello from the next village; 8 suitors; 3 neighbors; Adais, who gossiped and disappeared. A woman near the back said it quietly. The thing everyone was thinking: we ate them. We have been eating them. The compound went silent. Then someone vomited. Then everyone was moving at once, some away, some closer, some just standing and staring at nothing with new, ruined eyes. Outside the compound gate, Mama Ego stood and watched. She could not run. The village surrounded her. She was caught between holy ground she couldn't enter and a crowd that now knew everything. "We must check the graves," Elder Chukwu said. "The ones we buried as missing. We must see if the bodies are still there." The graves were empty. 6 of them, 6 burial mounds in the village cemetery where families had laid their people to rest, said their prayers, and cried their tears dug out from below, the soil disturbed from underneath, like something had come at night and taken what it needed. The caskets were broken open. The bodies were gone. Elder Chukwu stood at the edge of the first open grave and said nothing for a long time. Around him, the village stood in silence so complete you could hear the evening wind moving through the cassava field. Ikina's mother collapsed. They had to carry her home. That night, by firelight, they held tribunal. The chief sat in his carved chair. The elders formed a half circle. The village gathered behind them. Hundreds of people, some holding lanterns, some holding their children close. And in the center, bound at the wrists with rope, stood Mama Ego. She did not look afraid. That was the most frightening thing. "Speak," the chief said. She spoke. She told them she had acquired the snake power from a woman in the forest 20 years ago, when her husband died and left her with a baby daughter and nothing else. The woman had offered her power to protect, to prosper, to never be poor again. She had taken it without understanding the full cost. The power required feeding, human feeding. If she did not give it what it needed, it would take ego instead. "I was protecting my daughter," she said. "Everything I did for ego. You fed us people," Elder Chukwu said. "You fed us, our own neighbors. I kept my daughter alive. You killed 8 men who loved her." For the first time, something shifted in Mama Ego's face. No man was going to take her from me. No man was going to take my ego away. She turned and looked directly at her daughter across the firelight. "I love you, Ego. I have always loved you." Ego looked at her mother, at the woman who had braided her hair, who had prayed beside her bed when she had fever, who had carried a Bible and killed in darkness, and she said nothing. There were no words built for this kind of grief. The elders consulted. The chief spoke. The decision was carried out before sunrise, in the way old villages carry out final decisions, swift and without ceremony. Mama Ego did not transform at the end. Whatever power she had carried left her before they finished. She died as a woman. Ego buried her alone. She burned the freezer 3 days later. She burned the black polythene bags, the pepper soup pot, every item connected to the business. She scrubbed the back room with hot water and lye soap until her hands cracked. Then she went to the market, found the most honest meat seller she knew, old Nina, with the gap tooth and the loud laugh, and she bought goat meat with her own money. She restarted the business. People were suspicious. Some refused to come. Some crossed the road when they saw her. She understood. She kept cooking. She kept her prices fair. She kept her ingredients clean. Slowly, one customer at a time, they came back. Months passed. A young man named Obiora started passing her stall every morning, not to buy pepper soup, just to greet her, then to talk, then to stay longer than a greeting needed. He was patient. He was kind. He was not afraid of her story. Ego let herself be loved carefully, the way someone lets sunlight into a room that has been dark for a long time, slowly, in small pieces, testing whether the warmth is real. It was, and so the village learned that evil may hide behind a Bible and a smile. It may feed you. It may call you family. It may love you in its own broken, monstrous way. But the truth always finds the light. And when it does, even the darkest secret cannot survive. Ego learned that she was not her mother's sins. She learned that she could take the ashes of horror and build something clean, something true, something that fed people's bodies without poisoning their souls. The pepper soup business still stands today, but now when people eat, they know exactly what they're eating, and that makes all the difference.